knows? Who cares about the weather? Who's the predictions are just whatever they are. But
Anne's back.
I'm back. Wow.
Back from Vegas.
Wild trip. I didn't do any Vegas-y thing at all.
Now,
Did you even see any of it?
Yeah.
You're hitting the denial pretty quick there, Anne.
I stayed close to the strip, but not on the strip. And I drove by the strip, and I got lost on the strip a few times, but that was about it. I spent most of my time over at the convention center, which was huge. Did all my walking for the next 4 months. Don't need to exercise again.
That's great.
Oh, it was fabulous.
Well,
And you were telling me something else that was fabulous as far as next year goes.
Oh, yes. I won the free trip for next year.
I'm like, well, yes. All right, way to go.
Travel, everything. That's awesome.
Well, we can't. That's fantastic. And what a successful trip. Even without that, that you got to see all the neat stuff.
Oh, there was so much to see. It was just amazing. I was just mesmerized the whole time. I loved it.
Yeah, too bad we can't show pictures
I know.
on the air.
I can hold up to the mic and you could look at them that way.
This would be great. We need to have some sort of a way that we can interact over online where, you can just, I guess you could have a little webcam in here and we could have pictures because there's all kinds of neat stuff. I would like to show some pictures of the lawn we just put in. I'm just saying. There's all kinds of things we can cover today, but let me just stop this because we're going to be on the Vegas thing a lot. But I got really lucky in two respects. First of all, I don't know if anybody's noticed, it's been raining a lot. All right. and we've had this project we've been working on for many months, and it finally dried out enough where we could sow the grass successfully. We had spread topsoil over the entire area, and this is a pretty big area. I think this is going to take the record for any kind of
10 loads of topsoil, was it?
Yeah, it was 10 big dump truck loads of 15, Sharon.
Wow.
15 big dump truckloads of topsoil, and then we had spread that all around, gotten everything graded properly, but then I wanted to plant the grass. All right, and so it's a good distance from our house, and what had happened over the time where the topsoil had been sitting there and all the rain, it developed a crust. I mean, a really hard crust, and there's no way you're going to get grass. So I didn't want to bring our tractor because a long way, and I've got this York rake, which is a kind of a rake that you pull behind the tractor. So I went to one of the rental companies. Actually, I called several before I found that, was able to get me a tractor, and then they were going to send some kind of rake that I'd never heard of. Well, it turned out to be a power rake. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
Well, that's this drum that spins with the PTO on the tractor. It spins in reverse of what you would think, and it is lowered up and down by the mechanical mechanism that on the 3-point hitch that lowers and stuff. So it grinds up an inch of the surface and lays it perfectly smooth.
Oh, wow.
This becomes now turf quality.
Wow.
And we also rented a straw blower. Have you ever used one of those?
I've seen them used. No, I've seen them used.
They're a lot like a log chipper, basically. But you just feed the straw into this chipper, and it sends the stuff way out. Like if the wind's not blowing at all, it'd probably go 60 feet that you can spray the straw all chopped up.
So is that for a mulching?
So once after, so then you don't have to walk on it where you just planted the grass to spread the straw.
You got that, and you do that, and so you're able to just fire this stuff. It takes people and, all to operate, but it chops the stuff up. It's like a ballast in a way. It keeps the moisture down on the grass and shades it a bit so it's not just baking in the sun. It also kind of hides it from the birds a little bit. So anyway, we had all this equipment, and there's this fantastic lawn. There's even more associated with it. Run a little long on time, and I definitely want to get to the. I promise you, I said I would keep my mouth shut, but I just can't do it. But anyway, a grass seed, real quick. I'll just get it out of the way. Grass seed's going to be hard to come by.
Oh. Grass
seed is going to be hard to come by. First place, 2 of the major grass seed growers were flooded out. With all of this stuff going on, and there are still ones actually producing, The other problem is with all of this really wet weather, a lot of ground got torn up. And so there's going to be a demand on top of a shortage. Okay?
Right. I know we had the power company come through our property.
Right? I'm just saying.
And if there's anything, I mean, anybody parked on your grass at some point and sunk or anything like that.
Anything that got touched got torn up. It's just one of those years. So just one of those little things. This is the prime time to plant your grass. You might just go ahead and be as proactive as possible. You see some grass seed, go ahead and get it. Yeah, you'll be able to get it, but the price is going to go up. That's just about it. Hey, this is Your Home Today. We'll be right back. Alrighty,
we're back.
Aren't we though?
Yeah.
And so just about the grass. So you guys are going to plant. So I think everybody's going to be planting grass this year.
I think so. Yeah. I was wondering what kind of grass you plant around here. We've seen mainly tiff, I believe, in the stores, and we're not used to seeing that.
What's that?
What is tiff?
It's it's a small wiry grass.
Oh, wire grass I have plenty of.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
No,
it's
all
right. The kind that I've been using for like 30 years, very successfully, is the Rebel grass. I don't know who makes it or anything like that, but they've got, of course, like everybody.
I thought Rebel was the brand.
Rebel is the brand, probably.
Okay.
I don't know, but it is for our area where we have drought on occasion.
Drought. Flood.
Yeah. It just seems to handle the conditions of our climate really well. Mm-hmm. And it's a thin blade, tall fescue.
Does it run? Does it send out runners, or is it just?
No, it doesn't. It's just
thin blade, tall fescue.
Yeah, right.
Oh, okay.
You know what K31 is, right? K31, Kentucky 31 is a wide blade fescue that it's an inexpensive grass.
Yes,
I'm sure you have.
Stores.
It's one of the more affordable grasses on the market, and it works, and it's acclimated for our area. I personally don't like it because of the wide blades. It feels a little coarse. Now, if you had never experienced the Rebel, you'd be probably satisfied with the Kentucky 31. But having the thinner blade Rebel grass, you just get spoiled. Yeah. It's nice.
That's why my husband wants to get a grass that has runners, but not Johnson grass. And so we're going to go down to Texas in a few weeks, and we're going to pick up some Bermuda seed and try that out up here.
Now,
see how that works.
Is that the stuff? Is that is like the zoysia? Is it like zoysia?
No, not really. Zoysia is works real well in drought areas.
Yes, it does.
That's what's often used in Central Texas.
Right, so it's a carpet and it turns brown in the winter.
Yeah, the Bermuda will turn brown in the winter.
Oh, the Bermuda does as well.
The Bermuda does too, but it doesn't die. As soon as it gets warm, the rains happen, it shoots back up. It sends its roots. In Texas, it's real good because it sends its roots really far down there to get to the water. And we had coastal Bermuda in one of our fields, and when Paul was digging ditches back there in the field, he was running across roots of the coastal Bermuda that were like 2 inches in diameter.
Oh my gosh!
They were just way down there. 6 feet down. There were still roots.
Don't move. Don't put that grass anywhere near my house. If it gets in my flower garden,
it's hard enough to get.
My God!
That's what I told him. I really don't like the Bermuda because you can't get it out of the gardens. If it gets in the flower gardens, it just takes over.
Right.
And that's what the wire grass.
And he's
stuff
listening
is like.
now, so.
Okay, Paul, this is your chance. You order quick. But anyway, yeah. So it's all the percentage. I think there's a Pennington seed that's very similar. But it doesn't brown in the winter. It stays green all year long.
I think that's what they like around here. They like the ones that's.
Why wouldn't you? The only good thing about the zoysia, first of all, it is absolutely yes. It takes over and it's like a carpet, and it is. It doesn't give you the impression that the lawn needs to be cut, even though it does.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's wonderful.
Yes,
that part.
Yes, that rental cottage we have that has it. Oh my gosh, it's so nice to. It always looks like it's not. It always looks like it's been mowed, even when it hasn't.
Yeah. when it grows a little too much, it does
really
bog
thick.
down.
Yes.
Bogs down the more as far as that goes. But some people, and I can be one of them at times, it doesn't like the brownness of the winter that it gets. But it everything has a
and it takes a little while before it greens up.
But I like
other grass is up and it's not.
Yeah, so I like the Rebel, and that's what we put down, and they've all got the little coatings on them now, and that helps them to go. But see, we had put down so much topsoil. I mean, we got this really, really nice topsoil and spread it over pretty thick.
Yeah, you're gonna have a nice yard.
It's gonna be, and then got the grading of it is, we got all the drainage taken away, so all the downspouts are piped underground, and it's really done right. And it's, boy, it costs a couple of bucks when you do it like that.
Yeah, that's true.
But if you got the budget, you can. This is going to be turf quality, like I say, just like like the better, not the bent grass on the greens, but the nicer part of the fairway turf type grass. Yeah. So there it is. So the big trip to Vegas.
I didn't see much grass there.
No, but it snowed as soon as you touched
down. Of course, and it snowed while I was there too.
Oh my gosh.
That's
not
amazing.
very much,
Yeah, but still, I mean, that place otherwise is like the moon.
Yes, you usually have around 70-degree temperatures that time of year. But when I was there, the high was maybe we would hit low 50s, but mainly high 40s during the day. And so it was very unseasonable for
Gosh,
them.
I just think about those girls in those skimpy outfits in that weather.
Well,
Aren't usually indoors.
Well, I was seeing kids walk into school, and they didn't look like they had the appropriate jackets and stuff on either.
No, they
might not own them.
They might not.
You get acclimated to that
there
climate.
are some pretty poor areas there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I saw some really interesting things. Some really neat things. Let's see if I can describe them. Since I can't show you pictures.
I know, it's so frustrating, isn't it? Give it a shot, Ann.
Really? Okay.
Them things.
Sinks. How about bathroom sinks?
Yeah.
Okay. What I was seeing a lot of from various vendors on the sink that would go down to a drain, and then the drain would have this cover over it that would be about the same type of material as the sink itself was, such as a little rectangular cover or a round cover, or even if it might have a whole long rectangular strip that would take up the whole side of the sink.
Like a trench drain.
It would be like a trench drain.
Right.
And it would allow the water to go into the drain, but there was just a decorative cover to cover up the drain, so you wouldn't see it.
Did it have a mechanism to stop the drain?
To close it?
I didn't see one. I think you would have to take this little cover off and then put your stopper. Put your stopper down there in the hole.
I mean, it sounds. And so they were made of different materials.
But you could take that cover off to clean.
Yeah, so you take the cover off. It's really easy. You can just press on one side and it pops up on the other side, and you just pull it off. But it was very interesting. I hadn't seen anything like that before.
Yeah, that is in a sink. Yeah, we've just started doing that with the showers, using the trench drains and taking the tile and so you have the very same material as is on the floor. So it just all you see is basically the absence of the grout around.
It's carrying the same idea, but to the sink.
Right. Well, that's
and the slope of it, I thought that was neat.
Yeah, the one sink that I showed Sharon, it had a slope that sloped down from the high level was at the front and it sloped down to the back, and then it leveled off into a rectangle, and that whole rectangle was taken up with one of those covers.
Yeah.
Even though the drain itself was just a round hole in the middle.
I would think that there would be a mechanism just to basically, like the other sinks have, where they have the pop-up, that that whole thing would just drop a little bit and seal itself.
I went down there because
do.
I was just so mesmerized by everything I was seeing. I didn't ask all the questions I probably should have. Next time.
All the more reason to go next year.
Really.
Exactly. Maybe Paul will think of these questions because he'll be with you next year.
I think I'll have to send him off to the builders showcase, and I'll do the kitchen and bath show, and then we'll have to meet and discuss what we saw.
Yeah. You saw some other cool sinks too.
Oh yeah, they had some beautiful sinks that had. They were like vessel sinks that the outside of the vessel would be a dark color and then have a gold inlay in a design all around the outside. It's just gorgeous. There was also kind of a matching bathtub. It's a claw-fit tub. It had the gold claw feet, and then the dark outside exterior with all kinds of gold design panel.
I think
also
I think
signed up.
that gold is coming back, and
Yes.
it's a little bit like there's a really fine line between
Gold and brass.
chrome and polished nickel. And when you see the polished nickel very first glance, and you think maybe it's chrome, but when you see the two together, it is just such a stark difference. It's like, throw that chrome crap out of here. I want the good stuff, right? And there's that difference between the gold and the brass. That's very distinctive.
Yes,
like that.
The gold is much shinier.
But let's just take a quick little time break, and when we come back, we'll move into some of the lighting things, because I was really enjoying before we had to go on air. We were having a great conversation about lights and stuff. Anyway, Your Home Today. We'll be right back. Wow, it seemed like we just left you a minute ago.
Well, it was a minute ago.
Oh, okay. Something like that. It's good to be back. This is Your Home Today, and we're very glad to have Ann McKinley back from Las Vegas at the big home show, and here with Sharon back over there, kind of, chiming in every once in a while, and I'm Butch Duke. I'm just over here. I don't even know why I'm here, but I'm here today, and we all are, and glad to be here as well, and glad to be back yet another week and talk about some cool stuff that Ann saw in Las Vegas.
Yes, lots of cool stuff. A lot of hot stuff too. LEDs, which can be cool. But
yes, they're pretty much just room temperature all the time.
Right.
Whatever the temperature is.
And they're using LEDs all over the place. There was LEDs all around mirrors, and you could adjust it so that the temperature, which is actually the color of the light.
Right.
And you can adjust that color so it can be a yellowish color or a more daylight color. You can also adjust it so that it's full intensity or a lot dimmer of a light.
Yeah.
And then they had insets inside of mirrors, where I saw one mirror that had that lighting on the outside of the mirror, and then there was another circular mirror inside this mirror, which was a magnifying mirror that also had a light around it.
Oh, that sounds like a woman's heaven.
Yes,
to be able to see.
To be able to see.
To put your makeup on.
Or be so bright you can't see. Yeah, but that was really neat. And then we had lights, also LED type lights that you could, they were strip lights. You could mount them in the ceiling, and you could actually embed it into the ceiling with, like you do tape, when you tape joints in ceilings. This embeds it with
so you would mud it into the ceiling.
You'd mud it into the ceiling. It had a mudding tape channel. It had a mudding tape on each side of it, and in the middle of it was the LED light, and you could do all kinds of things with this. I showed pictures on the website where it would go down the ceiling and then go down the wall some, and you make all kinds of designs in the ceiling with it.
Well, that's what I was wondering about. Was does it have to go straight? But you can do it in.
You can do diagonals and zigzags and that kind of stuff. They were basically straight lines.
Some of the products that they have available for drywall, that you can do these layered reliefs in drywall. So they'll do this in commercial buildings a lot, where you'll have either a logo on the ceiling or a logo on the wall, basically done in drywall. Mm-hmm. And I'm seeing this now by what you're saying, that you could go around the edges of this with the lighting now.
You probably could, yeah.
I mean, absolutely, because the products that they have, you do apply, a mud, if you will, around, and anyway, it just sounds like a lot of possibility. When we were talking and we were thinking about some of these possibilities as well, that maybe we could put it incorporated in some of the tile work behind glass tile in a shower.
Mm-hmm. I think that would be pretty. I haven't seen anybody do that, but you could be the first.
Could be the first. Well, I want to try it. I mean, I'm just loving.
Even with all those things at the show, you didn't see that. That's pretty cool.
Well, but I mean, these are the things. Just like whenever something gets invented, it just sparks more ingenuity of people taking it to another level or step or something like that. And well, that sounds like a lot of fun. I'm going to have to look into that that sort of lighting. What were the other things that you saw that caught your eye?
Okay, how about a bidet? Have you ever used a bidet?
I can't say that I have. I have actually installed them. And actually, there's I don't know which kind you're talking about. There was, when I say I've installed them, there was a seat kind of bidet that's made by Toto. There's a Japanese plumbing manufacturer, and this thing would adapt to an existing toilet basically, and it had a warming mechanism in this little. It just. I don't know. I was afraid to try it. It had this little hose thing that would flip up and give you a little bath, and I don't know.
That's what I've never used one either. But those people that I've talked with that have used them, they seem to really like them. But the one I saw was very similar to what you're talking about. It was something you can actually aftermarket that you can put on top of your existing toilet, and the seat itself can be heated. The sprayer, they had 2 sprayers that would come out from the back, and they would go back and forth, kind of like it was spraying out water, going back and forth. And you could adjust the intensity of the spray. It was like, ooh. You could adjust the heat of the spray water.
That would have been a great time for people to see. That was a very subtle movement, but it was a movement nonetheless. The woo.
Just give me the willies thinking about it. But you can adjust the strength of the spray, the how far out it sprays, the heating of the spray, and then after it's through spraying you down, it will come out with a little heater that will put air out, just like it's a car wash for your butt.
I thought it was going to offer you a cigarette or something. I wasn't sure what was going to happen next. Well, that's interesting.
Yes, it was very interesting.
Yeah, that's great.
All kinds of weird stuff.
So you're in Vegas, and that caught your eye. Okay.
That caught my eye. Something else that caught my eye.
Okay.
Different area. We're going back to the kitchen.
Different area of what?
We're going to the kitchen now.
Oh, we're going to the kitchen. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. How about a cooktop that you can't tell where the cooktop is?
Well, that
okay. All right. Are you talking about as an induction cooktop?
Okay. Let's say you have a granite countertop or a quartz countertop.
Right.
And it's like, where's the range top?
How do you adjust the temperature and everything?
The controls are kind of hidden in a area in the cabinet itself.
Okay.
You flip down the little edge of the cabinet.
Just like they have
right, just like the little
sometimes.
sink.
Yeah,
right.
Got you.
And you'd have the controls right there, and it's of course, it has to be an induction cooking.
Induction, right.
And you just put your pan. I would have trouble trying to figure out, okay, is it here or there or there? Or, where exactly is this
Would it just work everywhere that you just take your pan and put it
You can put it, they said that you can put it down pretty close to it. And in fact, you can put 2 pans on it at the same time, and it can be working on both the same burner off of 2 pans.
Huh.
So,
wow.
So that was
induction
totally
heat
different.
is so interesting. So what are the 3 types of heating? You've got radiant, induction, and what's the other one?
Radiant, induction, convection.
And convection, yes. And so the induction, I don't know how that I know it works through basically magnetics. Is it?
Yes, it's having to do with the magnetics heating up the magnetic metal.
It's got to be, it has
to be a magnetic. I tested all my pans because I really wanted an induction cooktop.
Yeah.
And none of mine are magnetic.
Well, no, right. You have to have all new, or you have to have the type of cookware. So aluminum, copper, any of the ones that are,
Aluminum is not magnetic.
That's what I'm saying. Copper is not magnetic either.
Yeah.
All of that stuff is bare bone. It has to be like a cast
base
iron.
Of some sort.
Yeah.
Some sort of.
Stainless steel isn't magnetic.
Some stainless is, but not very many.
Yeah, and so you'd have to have the higher grade of the ability.
Or it has to have some kind of core in there that would have the metal in it.
Maybe so. It's an interesting concept, but the fact that you are so limited, like you couldn't use what's the stuff, the Corningware or anything like that.
No, right. You can't use the Corningware.
Right. Yeah, so you're a lot of limitations to what you can use, but it's a very cool concept, especially thinking about the safety of children and stuff like that.
Children.
Yeah. Otherwise, because that would be, I would think if it were a convection of it or any radiant of any type, that having where you couldn't even see where it is, somebody would lean their arm on the stove and crap burn turned out of them. Well, they could go to the day at that point.
I wonder.
But anyway, so, well, that's kind of neat, though. I mean, they're coming up with stuff all the time. And it's just, who knows what they'll be next. But the lighting probably is one of the more innovation and new stuff.
They're doing a lot of new stuff with lighting right now.
Yeah, that's really cool. Well, and just to see it all and to meet the people and to get a fresh idea. We had a trip one time and it really wasn't that innovative, but it had a lot of influence on us. We took the kids to Washington, D.C. for a visit. Mm-hmm. And so we visited the Capitol, down in the basement of the Capitol. We visited Arlington, the house, Arlington. So that was Robert E. Lee's home. Before the war. And it was, the Arlington Cemetery was sort of a smack in the face of his, that they turned it into his home, his farm, into a burial ground for the Union soldiers. Oh. Right? Is what it originally, how that cemetery came to be, is they had taken over his house and stuff. So we visited the house and various things, and it was just before we built our house. And so, as a matter of fact, if you walk up to our front door, it's very much like the porticos leading into Arlington in the back. If you ever go and see the two side by side, and then see our floors are very much like the floors in the Capitol. But you go to these places and you get some sort of an idea, and then you make application to them. Oh yeah. Much like you were talking about the lights, and now we're talking about experimenting with them, and how we can bring this into some of our projects, and just all the cool things that come about. So it's great to I do this all the time traveling. As we go to the beach, or no matter where we go, the mountain, something, and study the architecture. And I'm just constantly looking, and it's an obsession, and it's one that I enjoy, and
it's one of mine too.
Can't wait to apply the things that I'm seeing and have that little time myself doing what these people have done. But I'll tell you what, we're going to talk about it more next week, because this is your home today. Bye.